Okay, 3 whales now, and they're getting a bit close. It's causing me a little bit of anxiety. Say hello, Geoff. Welcome to Smallcraft Tasmania. I'm about to take you on a dinghy cruising voyage like you've never seen before. We're in about, I don't know, 1.5 foot of water. Just here, this is the Dinghy Canal, and we've just finished the first part of our trip around the Tasman Peninsula. Tomorrow morning the tide's going to come in, we won't be stuck on the sand, and we're going to bring the bridge controller. He's going to raise the bridge. We're going to head through the canal into Boomer Bay, then we go out through the Marion Narrows, and then we turn right. We go south. See you in the morning. It's 5 a.m. on the Friday morning. This is day 2, and we're just outside the Dinghy Canal, and the bridge man, he doesn't get up until about 8, so I'm going to try and take my mast down and get under the bridge just so we can get an early start and get going through Boomer Bay. Well, it's looking promising. I think we'll get under. Plenty of room. The canal's a couple of 100 metres long, and this is the opening here. You can see the channel markers. That takes you out into Blackman's Bay, or Boomer Bay as they like to call it now. Well, Geoff, yeah. I'm doing 2 knots and I'm just in gear on idle. And you're going faster.
I heard that when I was in grade 7 or 8 or something. I don't know why I'd remember it.
So we're just going past the oyster farms in Boomer Bay, and here's a fun fact. This is where I work. This is Marion Narrows, which is the opening to Boomer Bay, which we've just travelled through. What we're going to do now is just clean the boats up, get ready, because we've got to go through there. There's sometimes a bit of swell. It doesn't look like there's too much swell today, which shouldn't be too hard to get out. Not a lot of wind, unfortunately, so we'll have to motor out. And once we're out there, we've pretty much started our main part of the voyage. You going for a swim, Geoff?
No, just weed on the motor.
All right, let's get the boat ready. That bit of land out there, that's Maria Island. Get absolutely terrible in here. A lot of keel boats won't attempt this when the swell's up, and if it's a really fast outgoing tide, it can get really choppy out here. We've timed this really well. Could do with a bit more wind. We've done 8.2 nautical miles in 3 hours and 50 minutes, and the wind's picked up, but it's still not quite right. It's coming sort of from the southeast. There's Geoff in front of me, which he's probably going to be in front of me for most of the trip. So Houdini's much faster than the Scamp. When the wind picks up though, he has to reef a lot earlier than we do. The Scamp can handle a lot more wind, and so once it gets really rough and windy, both of the boats are about the same speed. But conditions like this, light wind, Houdini just takes off. Gotta be careful in places like this because there's a lot of kelp, and you don't want to get caught up in the kelp. Now, as beautiful and as impressive as this is nothing compared to what you're going to see tomorrow. Cape Pillar is just, you know that word awesome? People use the word awesome sometimes when they describe a t-shirt or a new phone. Nah. Awesome should be saved for things like the sun or a volcano, and Cape Pillar. We thought the wind would swing around by now, but it hasn't. So we're sort of having to beat down the east coast. Anyway, we'll get somewhere tonight. Might just be Eaglehawk Neck. It's 1 o'clock, we've done 16 miles, we've been at sea now for 6 hours and 40 minutes, and still got a bit to go. We've decided that we're just not making the miles that we need to get to Fortescue, so we'll go down to Eaglehawk. It's good to see Geoff behind me. He's having trouble keeping up. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's just being kind. It's illegal, mate. You're going to go to jail.
I've never survived jail.
So I was just discussing with Geoff. So we're on a port tack now, and he's able to point higher, and he's going a little bit faster than we are. Now the reason we think is because his sail is on the starboard side. The Scamp sail is on the port side. And I think that the Scamp and obviously the Houdini points better with the sail on the opposing side of the mast, if that makes sense. So we're on a port tack at the moment, and you can see the sail is on the port side of the boat. So if you look at Geoff over there, you can see his sail is on the starboard side of the mast. So he's got what we think is a better sail shape for pointing. So if you've ever wondered whether the lug rig is better one side or the other, well, I think we just proved it, because when we were on the previous tack, we were neck and neck, no problem. But I just can't point as high on this tack. Anyway, see those islands through there? They're called the Sisters, and we've got to sail through those, and then we're down into Pirates Bay, Eaglehawk Neck, and I think we'll call it a day. The wind hasn't come out to play today. It's been very frustrating. We've been at sea now for 7 hours and 10 minutes, and we've done just over 17 nautical miles.
There's Matt just about to sail in front of the back cave. It's an awesome looking cave there. We need to take the mast down and get in there.
Oh, g'day. Fancy meeting you out here.
Yeah. Not having much luck with the wind, are we?
Oh, this is terrible. It's a bit frustrating.
Okay, we've got about 5 miles to go, I think.
5 more miles.
Yeah. Gonna be slow, I suppose. You got the time?
Yeah, it's 3:45. Okay, we just made it into Eaglehawk Neck. This is Pirates Bay and Eaglehawk Neck. There we go. There's Eaglehawk Neck. There's the jetty in there and the launching ramp. So today we've done 27.8 nautical miles, and we've been sailing for 11 hours and 16 minutes. That's a big day. Okay. All right. Eaglehawk Neck. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening now. Geoff's all set up, ready for bed. We're just next to the beach in about 4 feet of water. It's low tide, and it'll be high tide when we leave. Got an anchor light on the back. These are Navi-safe lights. They're really good. So you keep your finger on it and it toggles between your navigation lights, port starboard light. And if you're interested, this is Sea Dog at night. This is my bed. And if you've seen our past, Joe and I did an episode where we set up the big double bed in here. So I've got slats that go in between the 2 bench seats, and then we've got a big double thermarest, and there's plenty of room in here for Joe and I. But when I'm on my own, I leave that platform at home and I just sleep in between the bench seats. The Scamp's very clever that the centerboard is off center, so the centerboard goes down this side, down the starboard side, and so you're left with this enormous area in between the bench seats that you can sleep on. What is it? Night 2. 2 more nights to go. See you in the morning. There's a heavy mist this morning, but it looks like it might be clearing. I'm hoping so. Just talking to Geoff. It's just after 5 o'clock in the morning, and the wind swung around, which is good. It's in the direction that we want, so it's going to make it perfect. sometimes we do get this sea mist down here, and I've seen this sea mist over the Tasman. It can just hang here for days, but we're hoping because there's a bit of wind, it's going to move that sea mist by, well, hopefully mid-morning. But anyways, we're going to leave here, head south and get to Fortescue, and if the mist still hasn't risen, it's probably a bit risky to keep going south, so we might just pull into Fortescue if that mist hasn't risen, because if we can't see, it's not a good idea. So we leave here, and once we get past Fortescue Bay, there's nowhere to stop. And because we've got the wind behind us, we don't really have a choice but to carry on to get around the Cape. There's nowhere to stop down there. There's a couple of coves that we could pull into in absolute necessity, but ideally the best place that we can stop around the bottom of the Tasman is a place called Safety Cove, which is probably where we're going to end up tonight. This is the most ambitious trip that I've undertaken in Sea Dog. Kind of blows Bruni out of the water. For Geoff over here, this trip is just a walk in the park. Last night, when I was sort of half asleep at anchor, I heard this boat come very, very close, and then they shone the torch at the boat. I could see the light coming through the port light, and I heard one of the guys on the boat say, "Hey, naughty." I learned something the other day from my son. He said, "Dad, you got to put your Crocs into sport mode." I said, "What's sport mode?" He said, "Put that back. That's sport mode." Croc in sport mode, Fergus. Thanks for the advice. Just coming out of Pirates Bay now, and I don't know if you can see in the distance, it's like a big snake of mist that's heading down the coast.
Morning coffee there, Matt.
Coffee time. I just heard on the radio one of the fishing boats out here has just picked up 120 kilogram tuna. 120 kilos. It'd take up the whole cockpit. Water there. We just saw a humpback whale. There we go. Wow. Holy schmoly. Oh, Geoff. That's a bit special. Oh my gosh. It's going to be a good trip. Right. Just after we saw the whale, the wind swung around. So it was a good omen. And we're now going the direction we want, with the wind coming the direction that we want. And we've got the swell coming behind us, wind coming behind us. Cruising along now at 4 knots. It's going to pick up, and so will our speed. Massive school of tuna over there as well. There's the fishermen getting into them. I don't know if you can see the surface bubbling over here. You can see the birds above. You can see that island just past Geoff. Well, it's not just past Geoff, it's a long way past Geoff. That's called the Hippolytes. And to the right of the big one, there's a smaller one. Big hippolyte, little hippolyte. Nobody lives on it, it's just a rock sticking out of the water. That's where the big tuna are, out there. And the big sharks. That's that sea mist behind us, which is thickening up, so you can't see the coast now. Fortescue Bay's just in here. If that sea mist is too thick and we can't see, we might have to pull into Fortescue. Downwind now at about 4.5 knots. Wind speed's probably 10 to 12 knots.
I know, it's cool, eh? Yeah, it's like we're going to sail into a new dimension. No, I think it's going to be like an evil Stephen King style dimension.
Directly in there is Fortescue Bay. You can't see it because that sea mist has come back again. We've decided to head on and hope that it sort of blows out. I mean, you can't see anything in any direction. And Geoff's radio's decided to fail. So we're going to have to keep really close.
4.5 to 5 knots. That'll do.
So about half a mile that way is Cape Hoy. Just can't see it. Can't see anything. You can see Geoff. And we just saw another whale. It was a bit slow on the camera though. There's another whale just there. Okay, 3 whales now. And they're getting a bit close. Oh, he's just there. He's just there. I think he's following me. Okay. This is really eerie. Can't see a thing, and there's a bloody humpback whale just there. He's following me. It's causing me a little bit of anxiety. Humpback whale. Booby birds. Boobies. They're called boobies, those things. Beautiful bird. Another whale here. Number 5. There it is. There he is. Oh shit, there's 2. Oh, and a baby. 3. Going for a V-line. I might have to just turn up a bit. Let's get out of the way of those guys. Where are they? There they are. There they are. Okay. Get away from them. Certainly don't want one of those coming up underneath this boat. That'd be a cold trip. Not to mention the damage they do. They could snap the rudder, snap the centerboard just like that. So they're just popping up all over the place. They're like little icebergs. We've got to be careful. Every time I look up, they're in front of us. Look, they're just there. Look, I don't know what to do with a net like this. Far out. I've got this feeling I just went straight over the top of that guy. Oh my god. This is nerve-wracking. Oh my gosh. It's like this must be what it's like dodging icebergs when you go to Antarctica. We're having to dodge the whales. They're everywhere. Not far to go till we get to Cape Pillar. We've both decided to put a reef in because the wind's picked up a bit. All right, heading off, nearly there. We've got a mile to go to Cape Pillar. I've just put in the second reef because I was going just a little bit faster than Geoff. So it's, as I said before, it's probably a good idea that we stick together. And also it's probably wise to have that second reef in going through the little bit of water in between Tasman Island and Cape Pillar can get a bit hairy in there. Anything could happen. So second reef it is. Still can't see anything. Stop filming the whales because we just, I don't know how many, we probably saw a dozen, maybe more. They just kept popping up all over the place. It's gone quiet now. It must have been a huge pot of them. That's where we are. See that? You can just see to my starboard side, Cape Pillar. We did it, nearly. That is awesome.
Hey Matt, deep water right up to the rocks. We can go right by it.
You go right up.
You can see there's a gap. So we passed in between Cape Pillar and that's Tasman Island is there on the left. Excuse me.
Oh, goodness me. That's a pillar, all right.
Cover picture. All right. quite a strong current coming through. We're doing 4.7 to 5 knots, second reef, and it's probably blowing about, I don't know, 15 to 20 knots. Sea dogs pulling, but the current isn't going. Nah, you want to go backwards.
A spectacular place. Goodness.
It again. taking our time along the bottom of the cape because it's just the scenery is stunning. The wind's dropped off. Geoff's only about 100 metres off, and I'm going to have something to eat. I'll show you what I eat when I go dinghy cruising. I'll show you what I eat when I go to sea. These These are fantastic. You can get them at Coles and Woolies. Serena, brown rice quinoa with tuna. They last forever. You don't need to keep them in the fridge. There you go. Good tucker. They taste great. And if you're a little bit hungry, eat half of it, then throw in one of those little cans of tuna, just to give you a bit more protein. And this container, super strong container, I use them for mixing up paints and epoxies. They're really good containers. I keep them. Yeah. Serena. Okay, you can see that headland over there. That's Cape Rowell. That's what we're doing tomorrow. And we've just got to head up into here. This is Safety Cove. This is where we're going to spend the night. And the wind's coming out of here. This is Port Arthur up to the right. The wind's coming out of here. So we've got a few tacks to get in. Still a couple of hours before we get there. And then tomorrow we're probably going to have a beat to get around that cape. And then we're going to use that southerly to push us back up to Nubina. If we can make it, maybe we'll continue on through to Primrose. Geoff just said to me, he said today has been one of the most extraordinary sailing days he's ever experienced. Just coming into Safety Cove now. Here he comes, Captain Macqueen. Welcome to Safety Cove. I hope you enjoy your stay. There's refreshments in the bar.
Very good. I'll give you a high five.
Whoa! Good job. It's just started to rain. And I'm about to start cooking dinner. Put this down. Okay. Thought you might like to see what I'm going to cook for dinner tonight. It's this Simply Wholesome instant nourish bowl, quinoa with peas, carrot, corn and extra virgin olive oil. I've been getting these from Coles or Woolworths. I can't remember which one. They're in the health food section. About 3 or 4 minutes to cook. Doesn't use much water, which is really handy. And what I do is I mix in some tuna and some 4-bean mix or some corns. In this case, I'm using edamame beans. That's my tucker for tonight. There. That's my galley box. That's my galley box, that's it. I've got some utensils in there, and then I've just got food in those two. I've got a little scroggin mix. There's some bits and bobs in there that I keep. What I do is open that up while I'm sailing, and then just grab a handful, put it in my pocket of my life vest, and then I can just eat as I'm sailing along. Also, I take this fruit salad. This is really good stuff. Not cheap, but very good. And fresh fruit and veg, I find the best stuff is, you know, things like carrots work really well. Green apples are excellent. I try to keep everything in the Scamp simple. everything's simple. Like, it's almost like you're going backpacking. If you're going hiking for a few days, you can stuff everything into your backpack, into a, maybe 20-30 kilo max backpack. You can go away for a week. There's no reason why you need to take more than that when you go on a dinghy. I think people overcomplicate dinghy cruising. If you keep it simple, it just makes everything a lot easier, because if you take lots of stuff and you've got to fossick through all your stuff to get to other stuff, for me, it'd do my head in. So I try to keep things really simple, just like the way I like to keep my boat simple. Keep it simple. There it is. Simply wholesome. That's it there. Brown rice, quinoa, there's some corn in there. Green peas. You just heat that up for about a minute. And then what you would normally do is just add a couple of tablespoons of water in there, but instead I just dip the whole contents of the edamame beans in. There's your water and some beans, and then puttanesca style Serena tuna. Puttanesca Serena tuna. So puttanesca, I don't know, they put some sun-dried tomatoes and some olives in there, I think. But there's your protein. There's some good fibre in there. That's a good meal. I could live off that, most definitely. That's my tucker, that's my dinner. Yummo. Then I have a cup of tea. I'll set up my bed and hit the sack. What a day. One of the most incredible days of sailing I've ever had. Geoff said the same thing. I'm not going to forget that in a hurry. But it's not finished. We're only about halfway. So I'll see you in the morning, and let's continue on. Morning. Day 4. Geoff's over there. We decided to pick up a mooring because there was a southerly that came in last night. It was quite strong, and we were in fairly deep water, so we thought we might not risk it on anchor. Interesting night. I had a seal tapping on the boat, trying to get in, or just checking me out, making all sorts of sounds last night. And late last night there was some young fellas in a boat that came into this bay, and one of them goes, "Looks like a swag on the water." I don't know if you know what a swag is. It's an Australian tent that the blokes on horseback use to camp in. It's like a flat canvas tent. Sometimes they have a pole, sometimes they don't. You just lash them up in between trees. So I thought that was pretty funny. There's a sea eagle over there. I don't know if you can see it. See that white splodge in the tree? There's a 15-knot southerly coming up into here. So we're going to have to beat out of here to get around Cape Row and start our trip back north up the west side of the Tasman Peninsula. We'll probably make it to Nubina. If the conditions are good enough, we'll keep going. We might get into sloping main. Otherwise, if they're really good, then we'll see if we can complete the trip today. Slept well. Slept like a hibernating bear. Time to pack up and coffee time. Bit of rain today, so I've got some wet weather gear on. I've also got a full dry suit down there as well, so I've got wet weather gear and foul weather gear. Morning, sunshine. How'd you sleep?
Huh?
How'd you sleep?
Yeah.
Sweet dreams?
Huh?
Sweet dreams?
Good enough. So, beating ahead of us.
We do. Need a bigger boat.
We're gonna need. Where am I getting the wind from? Oh, you stole my wind.
Dolphins just here. Here they come.
Oh man.
Oh man, I hope I don't lose this camera.
5 miles will be taxed, so yeah, right.
Making way. In about 3 knots. Here we are, coming up to Cape Row. We just hailed this boat down, and hopefully they got some photos of us with the Cape in the background. These cliffs are about 200 metres high. They get even more spectacular once we're around the other side.
Cape Row.
Just motoring in a little bit closer to show you this cave, and just over here there's a colony of seals. This is just incredible, look at this. Cape Row. That's another awesome piece of Tasmania. See if we can get a bit closer. I'm just speechless. That's just incredible. We're very, very lucky. Very lucky. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Look at that. That really is spectacular. Wind hasn't dropped off yet, which is really handy. We're chuffing along at, what are we doing? 3.7 knots, around sort of 4 knots. And the scenery, the coastline is just, it hasn't let down. It's just the same the whole way. Incredible. So just up here to the right is Nubina, which is where we were going to stop, but if we were making good time we were going to go up to Sloping Main, and we're making very good time at the moment, sort of, yeah, just over 4 knots. We're going downwind. Geoff's ahead of me as usual, and I can't hail him because, as I mentioned yesterday, his radio's not working. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he turns right or keeps going straight ahead. I'm opting to go straight ahead, so let's see what he does. Tomorrow's going to be light winds, and I think we should just soldier on. What do you reckon? What would you do? And we've done 16.3 nautical miles in just over 6 hours, 6 hours and 9 minutes. All right. Let's see what he does. Look at that. He's hove too. He's waited for me.
Sloping Main or
Primrose.
hey?
Primrose.
Oh,
Let's do it. Hey, let's see. Let's take advantage of this wind.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Geoff agreed Sloping Main, but the distance between Sloping Main and Primrose is not much. There's only a few miles, so if we can get to Sloping Main, we might as well go all the way through. Big day. If this sea breeze continues, it's going to be easy. It might die out in the next hour. Let's see how we go. Stay tuned. What have we done? 7 hours, right on the knocker. 20 nautical miles, right on the knocker. And it's a pretty choppy sea state. Not as bad as the other day, but you know, enough to give you a good workout. And that's the thing, when you're in a small boat like this, every single muscle is working. It's not like when you're on a cruise boat, you know, it's not like when you're on a keel boat, you can just nip down below and put it on autopilot, do a poo, make a cup of tea, come back and you're still going the same direction. When you're on a little boat like this, you've got to be at the tiller the whole time. You've got to be at the helm, particularly when you're heading downwind like this. It's tricky. It's really tricky sailing. Because a small boat like this, the Scamp in particular, it can broach very easily heading downwind. Your legs, you got to keep them moving. You got to keep going. You know, when you've been in a boat this size for 6-7 hours doing this, you tend to cramp up, particularly when you're my age. It's hard on the muscles, hard on the joints, and it's starting to get cold now. I'm probably going to have to put another pair of pants on before my muscles start getting too cold and seizing. Anyway, we've got probably another 3, maybe 4 hours to go. That bit of land there that you can see clearly, that's Betsy Island. And then over there, that's Bruny Island. And you can just see the iron pot in between Bruny and Betsy Island. Look at this guy. He's pulled over again for me. What a gentleman. What's going on, Dinghy Spart?
5 miles to Slow, 10 miles to Primrose.
Primrose. I already told Joe I'm coming home. I already told Joe I'm coming home. Hey? Yeah. Well, yeah, by car. I think we're done. Hey?
I'll give you a high five when I'm not
We're just under 10 miles to go. Been at sea now for 8 hours, 43 minutes. And we've done 27.5 nautical miles. Not a bad effort. Long way in a small boat. Managed to dodge the raindrops. Give you a tour of Sea Dog. So, in that hatch, we've got 3 sea anchors and a bunch of lines. In that hatch, we've got 2 anchors. I've got one of the Cooper anchors and also a Bruce anchor and too much chain. Down here, I keep all my wet weather gear and foul weather gear, boots and my Crocs. What else? Also, I've got a small bag that I keep my gloves and beanie and some waterproof socks and some other bits and bobs there if I need to get them. And then under the hatch that I'm sitting on, can't remember. Oh, fenders. I've got 4 fenders under there, and the poles for the tent. Forward, I've got all my clothes, thermarest, I've got a pillow, sleeping bag, I've got a shore tent. I bought just a small single person tent, and I've also got a bivvy sack, a bivvy bag in there. 3 Tupperware boxes. One of them's what I call the galley, and that's got the trangia in it and all the cooking utensils, and the other 2 are just full of food. I've got 10 litres of fuel for the outboard, of which I think there's about 8 litres left. Fluorescent strap there is a lifeline, and I've put this heavy duty hook here, so if in really serious conditions I hook it to that, and then I can hook it here. Okay, and what else have I got up there? That blue towel is one of those microfiber towels. They're really handy. If you haven't got one of those on your boat, you should grab one of those. They dry really fast and they're super absorbent. I think that's a Cetus Summit one, and I use that all the time. That's really good for cleaning up just any moisture on the boat, moisture on the inside of the tent, cleaning up the boat before you put the tent up. That's really handy. Something else that I like to take camping with me that's in the galley box is wet wipes. Like, I know it sounds disgusting, but they work really well. The non-scented baby wipes. They're really handy for wiping the bottom of your trangia after you've used it. So if you don't want all that black soot everywhere that you get, you can wipe it with those. Just remember, they're not biodegradable, so don't throw them over the side, whatever you do. You shouldn't throw anything over the side, but particularly those baby wipes. All they've got on them is just water. Anyway, the ones that I use, just water. What else have I got here? Just over there is the Primrose Sands launching ramp. That's where we set off from 4 days ago. And that is the end of Geoff Macqueen's solo circumnavigation of Tasmania. If you want to learn more about that, go and check out episode 16, Smallcraft Tasmania episode 16. And then once you've done that, go and check out Geoff Macqueen or Dinghy Spart's YouTube channel. The stuff that Geoff has done is extraordinary. This bloke he sailed across Bass Strait in this little boat, non-stop, unassisted, twice. Once he capsized right in the middle of the strait, just go and check out his YouTube channel. It really is amazing. Geoff quite possibly holds the record now for the smallest boat to circumnavigate Tasmania. The press are over there. There's some red carpet, champagne, and actually there's nobody there. It's nobody. It's just going to be me and Geoff. Here he comes. The man of the hour. You've done it. Look at that smile.
Yeah.
What a day, hey?
Yeah. That was good.
I got you. You got something that resembles a dock line, or you?
Make do.
I'll hold on to your halyard.
Little line at the front, and I'll get one for the stern.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dinghy Spart. Oh, you broke it. Good job, Sea Dog. They can see the boat.
You can?
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Small Craft Tasmania. Congratulations, Geoff.
Thank you, man.
Stay salty.
It's a joke. So Noddy's heading off to see his good friend Big Ears. He leaves the house. He's had breakfast. He leaves the house. He opens the door. He says, "Thank you, door, for opening, so I can go and see my good friend Big Ears." He gets in his car and he's driving to Big Ears' place. He goes, "Thank you, car, for letting me drive you, so I can go and see my good friend Big Ears." And then he's knocking on Big Ears' door. "Thank you, door, for letting me knock on you, so I can see my good friend Big Ears." And Big Ears opens the door and goes, "Ah!"
Why does it hurt when I pee? Bloody blah 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 blah. Tell this guy to shut up.